watching Luntha TV, and it's time for our 7:30 news bulletin. My name is Tandy Zamara. First, the headlines. Pope Leo XIV voices concern over renewed fighting in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo (DRC) and urges dialogue. Senior Resident Magistrate Court in Lilongwe grants bail to Malawi Congress parties Vitumbiko Mumba and Jesse Kabila as Richard Chimwendo Banda remains remanded. Minister of Transport reaffirms government support as Malawi Airlines launches Lilongwe-Entebbe route. And in other news, Economic Community of West Africa States ECOWAS rejects Guinea-Bissau transition and warns of sanctions. We do have the details to these stories and more, to stay with us. Pope Leo XIV on Sunday voiced deep concern over renewed fighting in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo (DRC), urging an immediate end to violence and a return to dialogue in line with ongoing peace efforts. After leading pilgrims gathered in St. Peter's Square in praying the Angelus on the third Sunday of Advent, the Pope said he was following with deep concern the resumption of fighting in the eastern part of the DRC. We have more details in this Catholic News Agency report read by Patrick Pupa.
Pope Leo expressed his closeness to the people, urging all parties in the conflict to cease all forms of violence and seek constructive dialogue, respecting the ongoing peace process. The Pope's appeal came amid reports of intensified clashes involving the M23 rebel group in the mineral-rich eastern region, despite a recent signed peace agreement between Congolese and Rwandan leaders. Pope Leo also recalled recent beatifications of martyrs in Spain and France, praising their fidelity to the faith amid persecution. Earlier in his catechism before leading the Angelus, Pope Leo reflected on the Gospel reading for the third Sunday of Advent, which presents John the Baptist imprisoned for his preaching, yet still seeking the truth about Jesus. From prison, John hears about the works of Christ and sends his disciple to ask whether Jesus is truly the one who is to come. The Pope noted. Jesus' response, he said, points not to abstract claims but to concrete signs. Concluding his reflection, Pope Leo said the Advent calls Christians to unite their expectation of the Savior with attentiveness to God's action in the world.
Government has reaffirmed its commitment to supporting Malawi Airlines, describing the launch of the Lilongwe-Entebbe route as a major milestone in strengthening regional integration and economic growth. Speaking during the official launch ceremony at Kamuzu International Airport in Lilongwe, Minister of Transport Feston Gauba commended the national carrier for its continued contribution to the development of Malawi's aviation industry. Emmanuel Shiwocha has filed this report.
Kaupa said the new route demonstrates Malawi Airlines' growth role in connecting the country's key regional markets. The minister noted that the Lilongwe-Entebbe route is expected to boost trade, tourism, and investment between Malawi and Uganda, while improving air connectivity for business travelers and exporters. He then assured the airline of continued government support, emphasizing that the authorities are committed to providing a conducive operating environment that will enable Malawi Airline to expand its network and compete effectively within the region.
Well, my excitement comes not just as a minister, but as Malawi government. We are excited with this inaugural flight from Lilongwe all the way to Entebbe in Uganda. As you might appreciate that being a direct flight, it means that travelers on this flight and even those that used to travel to Uganda will now be saving a lot of time. And when they be saving And when they'll be saving a lot of travel time, it means they'll be increasing their productive time. And when they increase their productive time, that will contribute hugely to the economic development of this country. And when you're talking about transport is what connects people, for people to be able to to do business, for people to be able to move their goods and commodities, or even moving services. So when services and goods are moving at a very fast space of time, that increases productivity of people and eventually increases productivity of Malawi as a nation and contributing significantly to the development of the economy of this republic.
Malawi Airlines Chief Executive Officer Solomon Bekele BK described the airlines as a Malawian brand with a long-term vision of serving the country. He said the new route fulfills a long-standing ambition to strengthen regional connectivity and support cross-border trade by easing the movement of goods and people across Africa.
We are very impressed. Actually, the number of passengers has beaten our expectation. We have seen very good booking on the flight today. It's very unusual for the first flight. We expect the first few flights to have few bookings for understandable reason until the market knows it, until people get to be aware of it. We expect there would be some lead time. But this flight has already surpassed our expectation in terms of bookings. So we are very high hope that this is going to be one of the most successful.
The launch ceremony attracted senior government officials, aviation industry stakeholders, and members of business community, underscoring the strategic importance of a new route to Malawi economic development. For Luntha News, this is Emmanuel Georgia.
Central West Region Police have urged motorists to exercise maximum caution on the roads following a fatal accident that claimed 5 lives last night at Youth Drive Junction near Sanctuary along the Dr. Salos Klaus Chilima Highway in Lilongwe. The victims include 40-year-old Zimbabwean national Gerard Ugongara and a 4-year-old girl Rolene Kamatenda. 2 women and a young boy also died, though their identities were yet to be confirmed. According to Central West Region Police Public Relations Officer Sub-Inspector Foster Benjamini, the accident involved a Ford Ranger double cab driven by 22-year-old Wycliffe Liati and a Nissan X-Trail driven by Gongara. Here is part of what Benjamin had to say.
This impact led to occupants from both vehicles, like in the X-Trail, Mr. Gongaya and the other 3 passengers, they died on the spot. While in the Ford Ranger, there was this 4-year-old girl who died at the scene. So 1 boy also sustained some severe head injuries, and we rushed him to Kano Central Hospital where he was getting some treatment. So I can say 5 have died in that crash. As police, as Central West Police, we are appealing to motorists and all road users to be extra careful. They should exercise maximum caution whenever they are driving. They should also observe all traffic rules and regulations. At the same time, people should avoid drinking and people should avoid driving while under the influence of alcohol.
Senior Resident Magistrate Precious Kondowe has granted bail to Malawi Congress Party MCP member Vitombeko Mumba and the party's spokesperson Jessica Bwina, who face charges of publishing false news likely to cause public alarm. The two were released on condition, been released on condition that each pays a cash bond of 1 million Malawi kwacha, provides a non-cash surety of 2.5 million kwacha, and surrenders their travel documents. In a separate case, former Minister Richard Chimwendo Banda has been formally charged with attempted murder of Frank Chavanda in Doha in February 2021. He was remanded to Maula prison by Magistrate Austin Banda, who ordered that he be granted medical attention as needed for his spinal condition. Magistrate Banda has also ordered the release of Alfred Gadula, arrested in connection with Panga boarding incidents, in line with High Court restrictions on further arrests. Sylvester Ayuba James is the defense lawyer.
Well, it just shows that the court appreciated the law as it is, and that as a defense team, we had also made what I would call correct arguments before the court. Otherwise, it's all about the law, nothing else.
Education expert Island Mtambo has described the government's decision to allow learners without school uniforms to attend classes as controversial, warning that while the policy promotes access to education, it could expose vulnerable learners to psychological distress if they are not supported with uniforms. In an interview with Luntha TV, Mtambo highlighted that school uniforms foster a sense of equality among students, arguing that families unable to afford them may cause affected children to experience social exclusion and emotional stress. He was commenting on the Minister of Education's directive instructing head teachers not to prevent learners without school uniforms from attending school. Gift Kalunga has filed this report.
In his remarks, Mtambo suggested that government support, along with assistance from well-wishers, could provide uniforms for those in need, ensuring all learners can focus on their studies without financial or social burdens. He has called on government to support needy learners with school uniforms to balance educational requirements with the free primary education policy and uphold the right to education.
It's a very, very controversial issue in the sense that when we are talking about a uniform at school, it brings what we call a companionship of equality among all the students, so that you cannot know whether a certain student is coming from a rich family or from a poor family. But at the same time, with free primary education, all students are supposed to be at school without any kind of discrimination whatsoever.
Recently, the Ministry of Education instructed all head teachers and school authorities to allow learners to attend classes even if they do not have school uniforms. According to the ministry, sending learners home for not wearing uniform contradicts the government's commitment to provide uninterrupted access to education for all children, regardless of socio-economic background. The ministry says the directive aims to promote equal and free access to primary education, ensuring no child is denied learning opportunities due to financial constraints. For Luntha News, this is Gift Kalonga.
Remember that you're watching news coming to you live from Bishop Navy Media Center, and today you're with me, Tandi Samara. Before we proceed, let's have another look at the headlines. Pope Leo XIV voices concern over renewed fighting in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, and urges dialogue. Senior Resident Magistrate Court in Lilongwe grants bail to Malawi Congress parties Vitumbiko Mumba and Jessica Mira as Richard Chimondo Banda remains remanded. Minister of Transport reaffirms government support as Malawi Airlines launches Lilongwe Entebbe route. And in other news, Economic Community of West Africa States ECOWAS rejects Guinea-Bissau transition and warns of sanctions. Proceeding with the news, the Evangelical Association of Malawi EAM project coordinator for the fighting inequalities in Karonga district, Lusongo Gumwenda Mangoji, has emphasized the need for accountability in government health projects following concerns over a non-operational health facility in Ngerenge Group Village, Mangomba, Traditional Authority, Kilipura. Kumwenda Mangoji made these remarks after community members from Ngerenge area sought clarity from the Kalonga District Commissioner's office on why the health facility, which was completed, is yet to start providing services. We have more details in this report.
Health services remains a major challenge for people in the area, forcing residents to travel long distances of up to 43 kilometers to access medical care. She described the situation as a clear example of why communities must actively follow up on development projects in the areas.
In Kiripura, thought it wise that they need to track some of the projects that the government has been implementing. However, that even after all of the investment into these projects, no implementation has actually happened. So we are here at a hospital facility which was built like 5 years ago, but the hospital is not operational because of some inefficiencies that have been experienced along the way from our duty bearers.
Chairperson for the Area Development Committee ADC Kingdom Malanga said although the facility was completed, several issues still need to be addressed before it becomes operational, adding that the quality of work done by the contractor is questionable.
Chipatala chathu ichi tinatipasa koma pali zina ndi zina zimene sanamalizise. Yenso tikamachiona chipatala chathu ichi chikuonesa kuti anuchira mkamangawo sanamange moyenerera because malo ena ikuoneka mng'alu, then mapaipi ena sanamalizise kujoina koma iwo anatipanga handover kuti sira chipatala chimanja mwathu. Tinayesa kuti tichimutipasa handover koma sichinathe anati ayi. Monga JCD panopa ikusazika ndiye muyenera kulandira.
Group Village head Mangomba said the delay is worrying as vulnerable groups including women, children and the elderly continue to suffer due to lack of nearby health services.
Yeah, we are not happy because we have the building, we have the staff houses, we have the medicine, and then we are not receiving the services. As a result, this made us to say we have to see this commissioner to ask us to why the hospital is not opened up to date. We have very big challenges. You know, from here to Kiwo Hospital, if you are sick and then you want to go and meet you want to see someone, a physician at Kiwo Hospital, it will cost you 15,000 just going, and back then that is 30,000. Whereby we have the facility in place, and we have the doctor which can also treat the very same disease that you spend all the money you have to Kaporo Hospital. This is a very, very big challenge.
Once operational, the health facility is expected to serve over 50 villages in the surrounding areas. Evangelical Association of Malawi, with support from Norwegian Church Aid and Danish Church Aid, is empowering communities with knowledge on good governance to ensure duty bearers are held accountable.
The Center for Human Rights, Education, Advice and Assistance CREA Executive Director Victor Mhango has urged government to ensure transparency in the presidential pardon process and to consider including rehabilitated inmates regardless of the severity of their offences as the festive season approaches. In an interview with Luntha TV ahead of the festive season, a period when the state president traditionally pardons certain prisoners, Mhango has emphasized that the pardon process should not focus solely on inmates with minor offenses, but also those who have shown genuine rehabilitation. Mhango has since called for greater transparency, noting that final pardon lists often appear secretive and are not directly shared by the prison department. Gift Kalonga has filed this report.
Mhango said that fairness in the pardon process is essential. He noted that ensuring transparency and including rehabilitated inmates will not only support prison decongestion, but also encourage rehabilitation, reinforcing the broader goals of justice and human rights.
Yeah, for us, we are just asking the president if it's possible to not only include the people who have got minor offenses, but I think for the sake of decongesting prison, it's better for him to include all the prisoners, those who have shown that I think they have changed, because that's the purpose. Without taking into consideration of the the crime that they have committed, but taking into consideration of the behavior that they have shown, the spirit that they have shown while they are serving their prison sentence.
Section 94 of the Constitution of the Republic of Malawi provides that President has the authority to grant pardons, reprieves, respite, or remit punishments for the offenses either generally or in specific cases. The Constitution also stipulates that this power should be exercised in consultation with an advisory committee on the granting of pardon. For Luntha News, this is Gift Kalonga.
The Malawi Environmental Protection Authority, MEPA, says it has intensified efforts in enforcement regarding the thin plastics production, distribution and use ban across the country. MEPA Environmental Information and Education Officer Obrinchiwa told Luntha Television on Monday that the authority is employing several interventions targeting to prevent further production, distribution and use of plastic papers less than required 60 microns in line with environmental provisions, which became effective in February 2025. He said the authority is engaging stakeholders and citizens to raise awareness regarding the new environmental provision. Charity Chilanga has more details in this report.
In an interview, Chiwa said the authority has embarked on several interventions targeting the prevention of the existence of thin plastics in all local markets and ensuring that production standards are being fulfilled in all manufacturing companies. Among other things, Chiwa revealed that the authority is expecting to sign a memorandum of understanding with all city councils that will focus on synergizing action on enforcement and monitoring regarding the matter. Further said the authority has increased awareness through road shows and various media outlets to ensure citizens are reached.
We have signed those memorandum of understanding. When these memorandum of understanding are done, we are sure that together with the local councils, the market leaders, and even district councils, in other words. So all the structures that are found in the local council and the district councils, which we can use for enforcement, I think it will be possible for us to wipe the plastics, as you are mentioning, that they are still in the market.
Recently, in its monitoring and enforcement measures, MEPA shut down operations at GS Plastics in Luntha, deeming it was manufacturing plastic papers that failed to meet the required standard of 60 microns. MEPA also fined the manufacturer Polypacker Limited and distributors Fosso Plastics Shop and GS Plastics 500 million kwacha for similar violations as part of its enforcement. In February 2025, the High Court of Malawi vacated the injunction that some companies obtained to restrict the government from enforcing the environmental provision that prohibits the production of thin plastics in the country.
Now, in other news, West African leaders have rejected a transition program announced by Guinea-Bissau's military rulers, calling instead of a swift return to constitutional order and warning of targeted sanctions against those obstructing the process. The position was reaffirmed on Sunday in Nigeria's capital Abuja, where heads of state and government met for the 68th summit of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, amid growing concerns over insecurity, economic pressures, and political instability across the region. We have more details in this African News report read by Patrick Popper.
Opening the summit, ECOWAS Commission Chairman and Sierra Leone President Julius Maada Bio warned that the resurgence of unconstitutional charges of government continues to pose a serious threat to regional stability. He pointed to the ongoing instability in Guinea-Bissau and an attempted coup in Benin as reminders that democracy in the region requires constant vigilance and principled action. Nigeria's Vice President Kashimu Shettima, representing President Bola Tinubu, urged leaders to reaffirm their commitment to regional solidarity, stressing that West Africa's unity goes beyond political disagreements. He added that Nigeria believes dialogue and fraternity, rather than force, must define the future of the regional bloc. Beyond political tensions, leaders reviewed progress on economic integration, including the ECOWAS trade liberalization scheme, energy cooperation, and major infrastructure projects. Discussions also focused on the impact of climate change on food security, with calls for coordinated regional responses to recurring floods and droughts. The summit comes as ECOWAS continues negotiations with several middle-led governments that have either withdrawn from or suspended their participation in the bloc, developments that have raised questions about the future of regional unity and cooperation. Founded in 1975, ECOWAS comprises 15 member states and was established to promote economic integration, peace, and political stability across West Africa.
My name is Tandiwe Nzumara. That brings us to the end of what we had for you in this edition of our news bulletin. But before we go, here's a reminder of the headlines. Pope Leo XIV voices concern over renewed fighting in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, and urges dialogue. Senior Resident Magistrate Court in Lilongwe grants bail to Malawi Congress parties Vitumbiko Mumba and Jessica Bwira as Richard Chimwendo Banda remains remanded. Minister of Transport reaffirms government support as Malawi Airlines launches Lilongwe Entebbe route. And in other news, Economic Community of West Africa States ECOWAS rejects Guinea-Bissau transition and warns of sanctions. Thank you for keeping me company, and do continue following the rest of our programs right here on Luntha TV. Just a reminder that you can also catch our news and other programs on social media. We are on Facebook at Luntha Television and on YouTube at Luntha TV Official. Goodbye for now, and do stay safe.